Let me put these earbuds in. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Saturday morning. Well, Saturday morning for me. I'm not sure what time it is for you, but we'll get this lesson started. I have the outdoor camera set up for a little bit of entertainment, and we'll get started in about 28 seconds. Morning, Brent. Good to see you there. Happy New Year to everybody again. If you weren't here yesterday, I wished everyone a Happy New Year, but we'll start this live English question and answer lesson in about 13 seconds. Let me just double check that everything's working. Looks like it is. Excellent. I like it when everything is working. 3, 2, 1. Well, hello. Good morning. Welcome to this live question and answer English lesson. For those of you that have been here before, you know how this works. Bob forgets to put the link in the description below, and then he tells everyone to use the link in the description below to ask a question. Give me a moment to put that link in there. I think I did the same thing yesterday during that live lesson, or at least recently. There we go. So if you look below, you might have to refresh your screen. You'll see there is a link there to a form that you can fill out. We can also ask Nightbot to put the link there in the chat, so you can click that as well. Please use that form to ask the question. Let me pin this for a second here. Pin message. There we go. Please use that link to ask a question. It puts all the questions in one place where I can find them easily. Please use the chat for good, fun English conversations between each other. There are a lot of members here today. Thank you for being members. And they are quite helpful at keeping conversations going in the chat while I'm answering your questions. I also, of course, have the outside camera set up. You can see that all of the snow is gone. 48 hours ago, there was still snow on the ground. It's all gone now, but it's quite cold. I actually went outside this morning to create a short English lesson for my other channel, Bob's Short English Lessons. And I had to stand and do it by the shed to keep out of the wind. So it looks peaceful and sunny, but it's -3 and very windy. And that makes it quite cold. So what else should I say? I think that's everything that I normally say. Let me see if there are questions coming in. There are questions coming in. Let's get started on the questions. That's what we're here for, right? Or should I say hi to people? Hi to Brent, Ut, Ralph, Jorge, Mode Eggs, Ulia, Marina, Judith, Know That, Hafiez, Ufan, Michael, Ralph, Freddie Wolf, Adriana. I know Lolly's here as well. I'm just reading the last few people in the chat. Hi to Adriano, Bridget, Ulia, Unsel is here as well. Vitor somewhere. Brent again. Hi, Brent. Let's get this lesson started. The sooner we start, the sooner we're done. Maybe that's not a nice thing to say. That makes it sound like it's hard work for me. But here we go. From Know That. I like the emoji with the smile with the sunglasses. Hello, Bob. Could you explain the meaning of the phrase to jump through hoops and give some examples of how to use it? Thanks a lot, Bob. So when you move to another country, it can be very easy, but sometimes you need to jump through a lot of hoops. What that means is there's many, many steps to the process. You can also say process, by the way. Let's say I wanted to move to France. I think that would be relatively easy for me. I'm a French speaker. I'm from Canada. Canada and France have good relations between the countries. But if I wanted to move to, let me pick another country. I'll just use an unknown country, a country that doesn't like people immigrating to it. I might have to jump through a lot of hoops. I know that Brent went on a trip this past year and he had to jump through a lot of hoops in order to go on that trip. So it means that there's just a lot of things in the process that you have to do, not just going on a trip, like getting into a school, getting your driver's license, those kinds of things. From Vitor, hello, Bob. Could you pronounce prison and prism? Thank you. So prison is like the same as a jail. It's a place where people are put after they commit a crime and are found guilty. A prism is a really unique triangular piece of glass. I don't know why I'm holding these up. And when light shines through it, it splits into the whole spectrum of light. So a prison, you're in jail. A prism, you are splitting light into a rainbow, basically. From Barry, how to remember many vocabulary because I am short-term memory. So let me rephrase this so it's proper English, Barry. How can I remember a lot of vocabulary? Because I have a very short memory, or I'm not good at remembering things. So you mentioned short-term memory. So we have short-term memory and long-term memory. You want to get the words from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. The way you do that is by using them as many times as you can. I often recommend that if you learn a new word, that you use it that day once or twice, and then you use it every day of the week in an email, in a conversation, in a text message. Make sure you are continuing to use that word, and then it will move from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. Again, Bob is not a memory expert, but that is my understanding of how it works. Mohammed, I know English to some good extent, but not very fluent. What should I really do to speak like a native? So I think the idea to speak like a native, that's a lofty goal. That's very difficult to attain. So you want to be able to speak English passably, or you want to be able to speak English really well. To get to the point where you're speaking like a native would be quite challenging. So to be able to speak English really well, that means you could talk on the phone to someone in English. You could go on a trip and speak English fluently. You basically need to spend time doing it. I'm a firm believer that you get good at the things you practice. And so it's just a lot of practice. Get a tutor. Make sure you're reading, writing, listening, and speaking. I say this a lot. And schedule time. Like if you are in a hurry, schedule an hour a day for 365 days and then see where you're at. I also highly recommend that you schedule an English test in about 6 months because it will motivate you to learn. Brent in the chat says, starting this year, there are more hoops to jump through for Americans and Canadians who want to visit Europe. Yes, it used to be as simple as having your passport, but there are a few more things coming up. Know that. Do you have a new river camera, Bob? Somehow I find the picture clearer and sharper than usual. Maybe it's just my eyesight. So Jen cleaned the window for me this morning. She got out a product called Windex. It's a blue cleaning liquid for windows. And she cleaned the window for me. So we now have a very, very clear view of the outside. Let's see there. No, that says to Brent, thanks for the example. Awesome. Thanks for helping out, Brent. And let me get to the next question. From Uarda. I've been in Ottawa for 3 months and I'm struggling with the English. Like I can understand all what they are talking about, but when I speak, I block or I get a block. So you have to find a way to speak where you're very, very comfortable. So speaking in everyday life can be stressful. And I recommend you find a more relaxed way to have conversations with people. So what I'm saying is when you go to renew your driver's license, it's stressful. If you're having to talk to people at work, it's stressful. Maybe you can find a club or a group of people that meet regularly that you can talk to. So that's what I would recommend is find a way to speak English where it's a little more relaxed and casual, and that will help you to speak English when you are in a more stressful situation. Mode says Windex. Yes, it's great for cleaning windows, definitely. And Nizori says, hi, Bob, I love you from Iraq. Nice to hear that. I like the compliment. And Mian Start says, I use Windex as well. It works well. Yes, look how clean this window is. It's beautiful. From Abdella, is there a way to sound confident when speaking English? I'm applying for a job soon. My level is B2, by the way. So confidence comes from mastery. Okay, let me explain a bit more. confidence comes from practicing a lot so that you're really good at something. I always tell students, if you're going to read a speech or do a speech in front of the class, the best way to sound confident is to practice it a lot at home. So if you're preparing for your B2, hopefully you've already done your B1. Your B1 would be a way to build confidence. You've already done the test once. You're a little more familiar with it, even though the B2 is going to be harder. So I would say this. If you haven't done the B1, do the B1 to build confidence. Excuse me. If you aren't regularly practicing with an English tutor, do that to build confidence. But confidence comes from practice. If you play hockey in the National Hockey League, you shoot the puck with confidence because you've done it 100,000 times before. So do things that make you feel more confident. Freddie Wolf says, Brent, what are the new hoops you need to travel to Europe this year? Yeah, I believe there's a new visa or something. No, that says, oh, I feel uncomfortable now, Bob, that it's due to the cleanliness of the windows, but you can tell Jen that it works great. We clean most of our windows later than normal. We usually clean them twice a year, but this year we didn't get to it till recently. So I should have taken a picture though, because I could see Jen on the webcam cleaning the window. Okay. From Tanu. Hey, Bob, if you don't mind, can you tell me what jobs I can get after completing a social service worker course in Canada? I don't actually know what jobs would be available to you, but I think this is probably a great degree to have because there are a lot of jobs, I think, in helping people. They always say that if you're going to get a job where you're helping old people, because Canada has a lot of old people. And I'm sure that working in social service, you would probably interact with a lot of older people. I also have a funny feeling you might be able to get a government job for a government organization. That would be very cool as well, because government jobs they usually pay well. So, okay. Brent says to Freddie Wolf, I haven't really researched it. It's not a visa exactly. There is a €7 fee for a security check or something. I plan to visit Europe again in 2026. That sounds fun, Brent. Hope you have a good time. Raphael, how to get the Canadian accent easily? Well, one way to get any accent easily is if you are good at mimicking people. And so I always find people who can mimic other accents can learn an accent in a different language easily. The other day, someone asked me to do a British accent and always said I couldn't do it. I can't do a British accent. But there are some people who can do a really good Canadian accent, Southern American accent, British accent. They're just really good at doing other accents in their own language. And they probably can learn to do an accent well in another language quite easily. But the reality is you need to practice and you need to record yourself saying the same thing as a native speaker. So here's kind of a complicated way to do it. If you listen to part of one of my videos and then you record yourself saying the same words as me, and then listen to me and listen to yourself and try to figure out where it sounds different. That is what I would say. And I'm a pretty standard Canadian speaker. Mode says, there comes Walter. I saw a brief dog go by over there for sure. Eastway says, hi, Bob. Eastway Lee. Hi, Bob. Love your lesson and listen to your broadcast from every app. Love your accent. Greetings from China. Thank you for the compliment. Glad I'm helping out. Brent said, just say A after every sentence if you want to sound Canadian. Yes. And Eva's here. Eva says, hi, Bob and everybody. Finally, we have got a bit of snow. Oh, that's cool. Very cool that you have snow. I'm hoping we get snow soon. I think that would be very helpful. Next question is a grammar one. Difference between present perfect and past simple without mentioning time. I don't usually answer grammar questions here because on the spot, I often get them wrong. But I think I do have a lesson on the present perfect and past simple. I think I did. One year I started doing grammar lessons and I did a few. If you search for Bob the Canadian, and each of those tenses, maybe you'll find them. But sorry to skip that one. Yuri, good morning. If we say the word cat, do we mean a male or a female or both? Both. Yes, we have a lot of cats. I don't know how many are male and how many are female. We also have a company called Caterpillar that makes big machines called bulldozers, and we sometimes call that a cat as well. Then it's just a machine. But yeah, there aren't any cats on the outside camera right now. It's too cold. They're all in the barn. But yes, cat means male or female. It can be one or both. Let's see here. Where's the internet? Is it mine or not? That's from Cat Diary. And Know That says it's working great. Thanks for checking, Know That. Let me just double check here. Yeah, everything on my end seems to be working fine. I can watch myself just fine. Okay. From Judith. Hi, Bob. When do you plan to make a lesson about phrasal verbs with 3 words and their synonyms? Have you ever read a book from Lee Child? Thank you. Have a nice day. Did Lee Child write the Reacher series? Is that Lee Child? I have to look this up. Lee Child writes thriller novels. Oh yeah, he wrote. So I haven't read the Jack Reacher series, but I have watched the movie with Tom Cruise, and I haven't watched the TV show. There's a TV show as well, but no. I should do that though, right? That'd be a good lesson, because some phrasal verbs have more than just one word after the verb, like to look up to. I can't think of another one off the top of my head, but yes, I should probably do that. Sorry, I'm reading the next question, Judith. From Susara. Hey, Mr. Bob. I'm from Sri Lanka. How do we plan up our New Year's resolutions as much as perfectly? I mean, like journaling. Thank you for helping me. I'm not sure tuning. Thank you for helping me, I think. If I was learning a language and I wanted to make a New Year's resolution, I would look at what I did last year, and then I would set goals based on what I didn't do enough of. Let me give you an example. When I took the B1 test for French, it said that I was really weak in my speaking skills, and I was really weak in my listening skills. So before I took the B2 test, I set a goal to practice my speaking and listening. When I took the B2 test, which I passed, but my grade wasn't amazing, my speaking and listening skills were much higher. So it's really nice to take a test to find out what you are good at and what you're not good at, and then you can decide what to practice. If not, I would say this. Look at how you spend your time studying English each week, and then keep track of how much reading, writing, listening, and speaking you are doing, and then try to correct if there's an imbalance, if you're doing way too much of one, or maybe if you're not doing enough of another. Mode says the A is easy to learn, but that quirky O sound is hard to master. Or maybe I already picked it up and can no longer hear it because I'm too used to it. That's possible. Who knows, but that's possible. No, that says, I saw the Jack Reacher series and I really liked it, Bob. Yeah, maybe I'll have a look at it. I know the actor was in a movie I saw recently, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Is that what it was? I think so. Mode welcoming Eva, saying thanks for being here. Lee Child, interesting. I think I'll read something from him, says Vitor. I know that says I've also read some of the books in my native language as well as in English. That is a great technique, by the way. And I recommend that a lot. I didn't invent that technique. But if you have read books in your own language that you loved, try to find an English version of the same book. It can make learning new vocabulary and understanding the book really, really easy. And then here's a method that I don't think I invented, but I like to think I did. Read one chapter in your own language, read chapter 2 in English, read chapter 3 in your own language, read chapter 4 in English. I've done that with a couple books. And that's been very helpful. So Hafia says, I always get inspiration to go to the gym after watching a Jack Reacher episode. That makes sense. The guy is jacked. He is big. Mode says, nah, I meant the out and about sound. Oh yeah, out and about. Jen's out and about right now with the dogs. I think she's checking on the chickens and stuff. Okay, next question. Get that on the screen. From Kit Konang. It must be very cold in Canada. Is it good for ice skating or ice skiing? Ice skating is what we normally do. Thank you for answering my questions from Myanmar. So you can kind of see the river is frozen, but the ice isn't thick enough to go skating right now. If you are talking about skiing, you can go north of here and you can go skiing. I think they've had to make some snow. Someone was asking earlier about skiing in Ontario. You can go skiing in Ontario, but the mountains aren't really mountains. They're more like really big hills. If you go to Western Canada, you will find really big mountains. Let me get the next question here. I got to keep moving because the questions are building up. From Lolly Lolly, s'il vous plaît, Bob. Please, Bob, what's the difference? Quelle est la différence entre, between? Let me just stay in English. Please, Bob, what's the difference between pain, sore, hurt, and ache? Thanks. Well, I'll use each of them in a sentence, but they all refer to when something hurts. I'll use the word hurt. Like if I hit my head, it hurts. That was a little harder than I was expecting. So let me use a few. I have pain in this area. It's sore in this area. Or my stomach aches. So I use them all a bit differently to describe the same thing. I could say it hurts right here, but generally we use hurt for injuries. Like if I hit my thumb with a hammer, I would say I hurt my thumb. Or he was hurt in a car accident. Or yeah, I'm kind of contradicting myself because I would say I feel sick, my stomach hurts. Yeah, I've got to go all over the place here. Let me just give you one example with each. I have a pain in my stomach. My head is sore. I hurt my arm or my arm hurts. You could say both. And then my whole body aches. You ever have that where you have a fever? You know what, Lolly? I'm going to have to do a whole lesson on this and research it a bit because they're not exactly synonyms. But I could use each of them in a slightly different way to talk about it. That's what makes English confusing, I think. Let's see here. Just reading through the chat. Hafia says oot and about. Out and about. Mode says to Judith, I know a good teacher who's done a video on 3-word phrasal verbs. Jenna from Learn Academic English. By the way, you should be watching other people. I know this seems counterintuitive for someone on YouTube, but it's very important for your English learning that you watch other English teachers on YouTube. The reason for that is if you watch my videos, you learn to understand me, but you're not hearing a female voice. You're not hearing someone who speaks faster or slower. You're not hearing a different male voice. So I often recommend that you do watch other videos. I'm happy that you watch mine, but if you really want to improve your English, you should probably have 2 or 3 different English teachers you watch on YouTube or other English YouTubers. Neonites, hello Bob. When can I use the phrase or phrasal verb loop something up? Thanks a lot. I have not used this phrase. It might be a British phrase. I'm trying to think of an equivalent to what it's trying to express. To loop something up. Yeah, let me look it up because there's a chance it's British. Like I'll wrap up this lesson at the end, meaning of to loop something up. Yeah, I cannot find that. So maybe you heard it from someone who was not, maybe it's new slang. Who knows? It could be. Vitor says, I'm focusing on pronunciation this year. English is strange sometimes. Yes, definitely strange. Okay, from Fabio. Hi, Fabio. I know that the lights in the back of a car are called taillights. What do you call the lights in front of a car? Headlights. And what about the flashing lights when you make a turn? Signal lights or turn signal. So the front of a car has headlights. It has high beams and low beams. So you can make them really bright or less bright. In Canada, we also have sometimes fog lights. They're little lights really low to the ground, below the headlights. The back of a car will have brake lights. So when all three red lights come on in Canada, those are the brake lights. And then if you have one light on, it means you're signaling. So that's your signal light or turn signal. So I said brake lights, but altogether they're called tail lights. And then when you go in reverse, you have your backup lights that come on, or your reverse lights. And then when you turn them on, when all four corners of the car are flashing, we call those your hazards. Turn on your hazards. Let's see here. Naima says, what are the secret methods to get articulate in English? There aren't any secret methods. You just have to work hard and do as much as you can. Kenny says, is feeling mentally overloaded when learning English normal, or could it indicate a bigger issue? No, it's hard to learn a language. So I should stop answering questions from the chat, though. I usually read a few members' comments because I like reading members, but let's get back to the lesson itself. Let me just pre-read this one. Okay, yes. Okay, questions outside. Here we go. Maxiel Kwan. It is difficult for Koreans to pronounce F and P. Please, and then I properly pronounce please wrong. Please pronounce many examples. For example, passion, fashion, etc. Yeah, so place, person, people. It's a very hard sound. You can hear it probably makes my mic sound funny. So people, place, person, possibility, passion. And then the F. So P, the P, my lips are together. When I use an F, so fancy, fun, full. It's a little bit of a different sound. Yeah. Hey, Know That has gifted 5 memberships to people. That's awesome. So Sylvan got a membership. Very cool. Thanks, Know That, by the way. That is a generous gift. Thank you very much. Kevin Cheng, Jiliang, a person whose name I can't pronounce, and Eduardo all have memberships for a month. Very cool. Thanks for doing that. I hope you guys enjoy access to all of the member benefits and enjoy it. Thanks again, Know That. That is awesome. I really appreciate it. Mode says ache is mostly used as the second part of compound nouns like headache, toothache, or in the phrase aches and pains. These are the most common uses of the noun form, but there's the verb too, of course. So yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I have a stomach ache, I have a headache. That's very common. That's correct. I do know people will say my whole body aches. Like when you have a fever, sometimes your whole body will ache. Okay, let's do one more question and we'll go into members only mode. Eric says, hello, Teacher Bob. How to use if, ever, and if never. I'm really confused with using it. Thank you so much. So I've never used if never. I've only ever used if ever. So if ever you're in Ottawa, you should come in the winter. Well, that's not a good sense. If ever you're in Ottawa, you should visit the Parliament buildings. If ever you have a chance to go skiing, you should go skiing. That's how I would use it. If never, I don't think is even a thing. Let's have a look here. If ever there was a cause for celebration, it's this live stream. That's the example it gave me. Not really. But ever and never, if they have never been to Canada, they should go. Yeah. So you can have if with other words. If they have never had ice cream, they should try it. So I guess it does kind of happen, but not with the two words right beside each other. Hey, let's go to members only mode. Let's see here. If you're wondering what members only mode is, members can ask questions directly in the chat. It is a popular year for English live streams. I'll tell you that because we're at 405 viewers again. If you're one of the 400 people watching and you're not a subscriber, there's a subscribe button right here, I think, or down below. It's free to subscribe. You should do that. If you're not a member and you want to know what membership is like, there is a join button For a small fee, you get an extra video. You get a Monday lesson plan. You get your name in green during live lessons 5 times a month. And you get to participate in members only chat. And you get a little crown beside your name. That changes the longer you are a member. So if you're interested in being a member, there is a join button below. Have a look at that. So let's look. If you're wondering what's happening, non-members, I'm going to answer questions from members in the chat for 10 minutes, and then we'll flip back to the regular lesson. So here we go. German says, hello, how many trees do you think you have on your property? A little fix there, German. So I'm reading that from the chat below. I don't know, 100, over 100. I've never actually counted. There are a lot of trees, for sure. No, that says, hey, Bob, I hope you found enough time yesterday to get at least most of the things you had to prepare for school done so that you can enjoy today and tomorrow a little for yourself too. Yes, I did actually. So it's nice that, yeah, it's when I have time off from school, it's actually easier to get schoolwork done because I'm not in the classroom, but it's not nice to do schoolwork when you're on break, but it's okay. Brent, member for 56 months. That's a long time, Brent. I do remember when Brent showed up. That was fun. Become a member. It's a good time. Thanks for the shout out. Mustafa says, what do you wish us about the new year 2025? So here's what I would hope for all of you in 2025. There's 2 things. Obviously, my hope is that you're learning English, but that's understood. The 2 things I hope for is that you have time and that you stay motivated, okay? Learning a language is a long process, and obviously all of you are learning English, so I hope that you continue doing that in 2025. But I would wish for all of you that in your week, you find time and you stay excited and motivated for learning English. Those are two big challenges. Life is busy. It can be very hard to find time to study English. So I hope you find an hour a day to study English, and I hope you're excited and motivated every time. Freddie Wolf says, Bob, I'd ask for a pronunciation advice. Do you say internet or internet? I say internet. International? In fact, do you drop the T when you use your fast speaking pace in daily life? So internet. So obviously the T at the end is hard, but the one in the middle slips to a D, the internet. I almost even don't say the D, do I? It's on the internet. It almost sounds like the internet. Last week, my internet connection went down. So you do kind of switch the T to a D a bit. Like my internet was down. My internet came back up a little while later. He works for a big international company. The same thing. Inter becomes inner, almost becomes inner. Let me say them both clearly for you. Internet, international. That's how I say them. Oh, Brent says Mode is a very smart man. Very cool. I knew that, but maybe Brent just figured that out. No, that says, may I ask you if there will be a video on Jen's channel tomorrow? Yes. Or did she take some time off to relax and do other things? I guess she has a lot of office work around this time. Yes, there will be a video. So for those of you that don't know, Jen also has a YouTube channel. It's called My Flower Farm. I'm going to find it and post it in the chat. Let me get a link to it for you. And this is Jen's challenge to herself. Jen decided that Jen's flower farming channel. By the way, only go watch Jen's videos if you're going to watch the whole thing and you like flower farming. I don't want to send a whole bunch of people over who just watch 10 seconds. But if you enjoy farming and flowers and the outdoors, go watch Jen's videos. Anyways, Jen's challenge to herself, know that, was to try and put out a video every week for about a year and see how it goes and if she likes it. And then she'll decide how many videos to put out in year 2. So far, she has put out a video every week for 41 weeks. She's like a machine. She's actually better than me at putting videos out regularly. And there will be one tomorrow. But yes, she does have a lot of office work as well right now. We have to do our taxes. She has to order lots of seed. There's a lot going on, even though it looks like this outside on the flower farm. From Know That, thanks for everything, Bob. I already wrote it yesterday, but I'd like to mention it again. You're an outstanding teacher, and I mean it. Well, thank you very much for that compliment. That is awesome. Thank you. Know That. I'm going to put another question up from here. From Miriam. Hi, Bob. I understand English, but I can't speak. I'm afraid to say something wrong. What should I do? Please help me because I can't work in Canada without English. You need a speaking partner who you are comfortable speaking to in non-stressful situations. So one of the things I like about speaking French, because I'm a French learner with my French friend, is that there's no stress. It's not an important conversation. It's a fun conversation. Fun, relaxing conversations make you more relaxed in stressful conversations because you've had the practice. So I don't know if you already have a speaking partner. Hopefully you can find one and you can talk to them once a week. It's so helpful. It's so helpful to, you're basically building a solid base. Like your amount of experience with speaking English just grows. And then when you're in that situation where it's stressful, it works a little bit better. And if you're stressed talking to a speaking partner, that will slowly go away as you get to know them. So there is a link below to preply.com. It's a great app where you can find someone for a very reasonable amount of money to practice your English with. And Know That says, and thanks for your answers, Bob. Mode says, just say internet. You're right. Like, just say internet and you're good. I believe the T here is dropped, not quite like the flap T in butter, for example. Yeah. If I say internet quickly, totally good. I do think there's a slight T moving to a D in there, internet. But we say it so fast. Like if someone said, hey, did you read that on the internet? I wouldn't notice if they said internet. So yes, go with that. Know That says to Brent, yeah, I'm out when it comes to taxes too. Oh, what did Brent say? Brent said, taxes, don't remind me. Yeah, I hate taxes. Like, I don't actually mind paying them. I hate doing all the paperwork to find out how much money I have to pay. That's what I don't like. Adriano, is it normal to understand what you are talking to us about and not understand what other native speakers are saying? Okay, I did a few fixes in there, Adriano. To me, this comes from you've done a lot of listening. And if you look at the 4 skills of reading, writing, listening, and speaking, your listening is very strong because you've probably done a lot of it. And your reading is maybe strong as well, but your writing and speaking maybe aren't. So you need to shift your focus. If you're spending an hour a day listening to English, that's awesome. Try to find some time to increase the amount of English you're speaking each week to practice. And again, if you can find someone to talk to every week for half an hour or an hour, that would be really, really helpful. Oksana, hello. What do these sentences mean? I'm going to read them first. I will have finished work in an hour. I will finish work in an hour. Yeah, they mean pretty much the same thing. The first one's a little bit wordy. Like, can you come over? Yeah, I will have finished work in an hour. Yeah, I don't even know if I would say that. I will finish work in an hour, then I'll come over. The other one I think it needs to be a compound sentence. If I do these 3 things, I will have finished work in an hour. I don't know. Let's just throw the first sentence out. I don't think I would use that sentence very often. I will have finished work in an hour. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I would use the second one. I don't have a good answer for that, Oksana, except that they're both correct. And the first one sounds quite wordy. Maybe someone in the chat has a better grasp of it than I do. From Rafa, first and foremost, thanks a lot for so much great content. In your opinion, what's the most important thing when it comes to teaching English? Any advice for young teachers? Thanks in advance. Okay, so I want to be clear that teaching a language should be fun, but you can't avoid the fact that it's hard work. So young teachers sometimes try to make their classes fun for an entire hour. And that's great. It can be very enjoyable for students, but I think you need a good balance. So when you're planning your classes, make sure you make students aware that learning English can be fun and learning English can be hard work, and they both exist. Okay. So if you start class by playing a game for 10 minutes, and then maybe you have the students do some writing, which is hard, and then maybe you do an activity that's a little more enjoyable, and then they do some really difficult reading, and then they do a game where they practice conversation that's fun, but then that leads to a more stressful conversation. Like, I think you need to have both. The advice I would give for young teachers is make your class fun, but don't lie to your students that learning a language is always fun. It is very hard work, and they have to be ready for that. 2 thumbs up, I guess. That's what I would say. That would be my advice is find ways to make it fun, but don't get stuck on that, because you can have fun for an hour every day in English and not learn how to write and not really learn how to read because you just played games all the time. From the chat, let's see here. Freddie says, because I tell from Bob all the time, my family, I've gotten a Canadian travel book for a Christmas gift. Oh, very cool, Freddie. Mode says, yeah, Jen's channel is quite fun, and she does not keep repeating things like Bob does here. Haha, sorry, I know that's a teacher's habit. Yeah, I was going to start to keep track of the most common questions I get in a live stream. I should probably do that for the next 12 months, and then I'll do a video on it, because sometimes I sound like a broken record. German, did you and Jen go to the same university? We did, actually. Eva, I will have finished, emphasizes that the job will be done at that time. Yeah, I will have finished at 2. I will finish at 2. I still think, yeah, there's a slight difference there, and I don't know what it is. Bob, peux-tu dire sentence sans le i? Sentence. Can you say sentence without the y? There's no y. Yeah, sentence and center have the same pesky T sound. Some people also say winter for winter. Not Bob, though. No, I say winter because winter's real here. So you put the T in it. Sentence and center. Sentence, center. Oh, yeah, interesting. Okay, know that. When you're done with your schoolwork so far, Bob, then what are your plans for today and tomorrow? I mean, besides putting out the video on your short channel. Put out the video on my short channel. I got to make a short trip. I think you know what that means. But I'll be back. It'll be a few hours, a drive. Freddie Wolf, Bob, thank you. Oh, merci beaucoup pour toutes tes réponses. T'es génial. Thanks a lot for all your responses. You are nice or kind. No problem. Okay, thanks, Mode. And sans le thé. Oh, le thé. Oui, merci beaucoup. Bob, peux-tu dire sentence without the, yes, sentence. Okay. So center, sentence. Yes, sometimes we drop the T a little bit there. Like if I'm teaching a class, if I'm at school, I'm going to say sentence because I'm a teacher and I want to say center and sentence. I want to pronounce it correctly. But when I speak quickly, I'm going to say, write a story. It needs to be 300 sentences. Sentences. And in the center of the story, there should be something tragic that happens. So yes, you can drop the T. Let's see here from Gap. Where are we at? I should turn members only chat off. Thank you for being members. You guys are awesome. I love it when I'm getting ready to do my live stream and there are like 10 or 20 of you here all chatting. It's very cool. So thank you for being members. Remember, again, if you don't know what membership is, there is a join button somewhere down below. You can have a look at that. And there's a little video that explains what you get. Okay, Gap, 1969. This is the shirt I'm wearing. Yeah, I'm wearing the same sweatshirt as yesterday, but I did have a shower and I do have a clean t-shirt on underneath. So, but sometimes in the winter, you double day your clothes. You wear the same thing 2 days in a row. Hey, Bob, love your lessons and love everything that you do. What is the brand and model of the microphone you are using right now? Thanks and wishing you the best 2025. This is a Maona. Maona. It's like Maona microphone. It's like the cheapest microphone that you can get, I think, from Amazon. I have two of them actually. When Brent was here a couple years ago, we used two to do a live stream. It didn't actually work that well. There was an echo. I still have to figure out what that was all about. Okay. From Nan. Do you believe that communication grammar is crucial? I believe that learning grammar is crucial. I believe there are two ways to learn grammar. You can learn it actively by learning it from a book, and you will learn it passively by hearing English speakers speak their language. And I think both are equally important. I'm speaking too fast. I often recommend that you find a book in your own language that explains English, not Canadian English, but that you also spend a lot of time listening and reading to hear how it is used. I know for myself, when I had a book written in English that explained French grammar for me, that was a lifesaver. So try to find a book in your language that explains English grammar. Let's see here. From dad mode to New Balance running shoes and a pair of dad shorts. Hey, question 1, is the phrase huffin' and puffin' used often or at all? Yeah, like I went for a run last summer and I was huffing and puffing by the end. That just means it took me like 40 something minutes to run 5 kilometers. It was the worst time I've ever done it in, but I did it. But I was huffing and puffing by the end. It means I was breathing heavily. Question 2, would you rather go to Costco or Bulk Barn to buy your groceries? So Bulk Barn doesn't have fruits and vegetables. And Bulk Barn, yeah, we go to both. But we often go to Bulk Barn just to buy treats if we're having people over. Like we'll buy chocolate covered almonds or different candies. But Costco has everything. They have bananas, they have avocados, they have celery, they have spinach and kale and cucumbers and hamburger buns and everything we need at Costco. So I would rather go to Costco, but we do go to both. Hey, if you're one of the 415 people here and you are not a subscriber, there is a subscribe button there. You should click it. It's free. Then you'll know when a new English lesson comes out. From S.L. Lenka. Very familiar name. Hi, Bob. Nice to see you again. I've been watching your videos for 5 years. Thank you for your lessons. You're welcome. It's hard to believe. Oh, I missed my anniversary. Yesterday was 8 years of doing YouTube. So I was just motoring along and I forgot to celebrate it. I should have posted something on my community page. Anyways, thanks, SL Lenka, for being here for 5 years. Thanks to other people for being here even longer. There's a few people who have been here for a very, very long time. It's pretty cool. Yes, 8 years on YouTube. SL Lenka has been here for 5. Very neat. No, that says, I can only confirm that, Bob. I also found it extremely useful to have a grammar book that explains the language you want to learn in your native language. Yes, just very, very helpful. Super, super helpful. Brent says, Bulk Barn? Interesting. I don't think we have that in the US. What? You don't have Bulk Barn? Oh, sorry. Is my camera focusing? Oh, it is focusing still. Bulk Barn is just a store with big barrels and you scoop the food into bags. It's amazing. You should get one. You probably have something like it. You might actually have bulk food in your grocery stores, and that might prevent it. Freddy Wolf, as-tu le Boucherel pour la conjugation française, qui est hyper compliqué? Yes, I have a Petit Larousse dictionary. I have a Boucherel. I have a 501 French swear words. That's a good one. But yes, very handy. No, that says, oh, that I already read that one. I think things are getting a little mixed up here. From Andres. Oh, in this sentence, I saw you walk on the commons. What does commons mean? Google tells me it's some kind of public land from medieval times. I'm lost. Okay. So the commons is something that exists in a public place. My memory of commons is at university. The area in the middle of the university was called the Commons. So we had all the academic buildings on one side, all of the dormitories on the other side, and there was a large, like park-like area that was called the Commons. I think that whenever there are a lot of buildings from one organization on one piece of land, the center area can be called the Commons. So this might even be like if there's 6 or 7 government buildings in a capital city, the area in the middle might be called the Commons. So, but definitely at universities, the center of campus, I think, is often called the Commons. We should ask Brent in the chat if he's familiar with that word, the Commons. Yep. If you don't already have a reason to move to Canada, now you have one, Brent. That's from Mode. Yes, Bulk Barn. You can eat chocolate-covered almonds to your heart's content. From Utsul. We already know that you like reading and watching science fiction. What about stories and poetry? Do you read or write poetry or short stories? And do you recite poetry? I used to write some poetry. I even, I think I had a blog where I published some online a long time ago. It's not up anymore. But I don't generally read or write poetry. I will read a short story collection though. So if there is like best science fiction short stories of 2024, I will most likely read that book. From Harvey, hi Bob, good morning. I have a question about the meaning between extend and augment. I think they are similar. Would you give me more explanation? Thanks in advance. Extend usually means something is getting longer. So you can extend the amount of time someone has. You can extend your house. So if your house is this big, you can make it bigger. But extend usually means to go in a straight line. Like I can turn the knob here and extend this microphone. Augment simply means to make better. So you can augment your computer by putting more memory in. You can augment, we don't really use it for a home, but I could augment my home by putting beautiful paintings on the wall. Augment's a very formal sounding word, but it means to make something better. But extend usually means like in a straight line or linear. J Boss in the chat says, hey Bob, what language do you think is more better? What language do I think is the best? I think all languages are cool. I actually find it very fascinating. Let's see here. Brent says Commons for sure. A lot of colleges use that term too. Maybe military bases. Yeah. So it's just it's a common area between buildings for sure. Mode says, why don't you have a sip? Is the hydration reminder no longer a thing? Should I program Nightbot to remind me to have a sip of water? Hafiz says, we also use Commons during uni years, Commons Square to be exact, just an open place for students. Yes, that is the most common use. No, it's not the most common use of the word Commons. Because anyways, yes, Commons, a big area. Hello, Bob. This is from Harry. Is there a big difference in accent between Canadians and Americans? So the vast majority of Canadians live within 100 kilometers of the border. So we live very close to the United States. When I put up an antenna and connect it to a TV, I get more American channels than Canadian channels. When I listen to the radio, I get an equal amount of both. So I have been exposed to Northern American English, mostly Northeastern, more like New York and Ohio, for a very long time. So I think the Canadian accent is only slightly different than the American accent. We certainly have no problem understanding each other. We can usually tell if someone is from the United States, but it's usually just a few little words here and there. From the Avril Lavigne fan, hi, Teacher Bob, hi. Are you going to attend an Oasis comeback concert this year? Do you like it? Cheers from Brazil. I am not. I'm not a huge fan of Oasis. I do like their music, but not enough that I would go to a concert. From someone. Hello, Bob. What is the height from the floor to the ceiling of your room, please? I think it's 8 feet. I think it's, well, one sec. I'm pretty sure it's 8 feet. Let me find out here. I think when we build houses, Yeah, it's exactly 8 feet. So let me find that. Oh, this doesn't have metric on it. Sorry, this is only yeah, 8 feet. So in our basements, though, if you go into the basement of a house, sometimes the ceiling is only about 7 feet, but most of our rooms we design to be 8 feet. So you'll have to convert that. Let's see here. 8 feet in centimeters. It says 20 centimeters. Obviously, I didn't put in feet. I put in inches. 96. Here we go. 2.9 meters. Yeah, it's almost 3 meters, right? Oh, that's cool. Okay, back to the lesson. What am I doing here? I'm stuck measuring my house. From Safin. Oh, thanks for the super chat from Kazdel. Thank you very much. I very much enjoy that. Oh, can I reply to super chats now? Is that how it works? Reply. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Oh, look at that. I can type right in there. Never knew that. Okay, hello. When I look at you, I understand a lot, but when I speak, I stop to say the sentences completely. So there's a couple things you can do to help with that. One is, it's hard to do, but try to speak very slowly and with very simple sentences, and try to have some, I call them placeholder sentences. Like you can say things like, oh, I understand, or interesting, or thank you, or I didn't know that. Try to have a sentence that you can, this is hard to do, that you can quickly put out before you have to say something meaningful. So if someone says, wow, it's really hot out today, you could say, yes. It's like even something as simple as that. And then you say, I agree. Another thing you can do is you can always be ready to repeat what the person said. If they make a statement, like if they say, I really enjoyed the movie, you could say, yes, I really enjoyed the movie. It doesn't make for great conversation, but it can help. Sorry, I was just trying to get Jen on the camera there. The other thing, of course, is to practice, again, I mentioned, in a non-stressful way. So spend some time with someone who can have a conversation with you in a more casual setting instead of when you are under stress. I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions today, everyone. But anyways, Pedro. Hi, Bob. Is there any difference between the pronunciation of pull and pole? Yes. So, I can pull on this, and outside, I don't think you can see it, but way over by the shed, there is a pole. The hydro wires, electricity wires, we call them hydro wires, are connected to a pole, kind of by that red door. Can I put right here, there's a pole. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. I think if I put my mouse over the picture, maybe you can see it. We're going to find out in a sec because I'm watching it. Let's see here if that actually works. I don't think it will, but stranger things have happened in the world. No, I don't think you can see the mouse. Okay, anyways, pull and pull. No, that says you could do the programming with Nightbot, Bob. You could also give it a command so we could use it like link or warn, but not drink. That would be rude. Can you imagine everyone spamming drink whenever I start to? Bob MacGyver, yes. Oasis is making a comeback. Wow, I can't believe Liam and Noel or Noel, probably Noel, are reconciling. Could have been used for yesterday's lesson. Yes, to reconcile. Mustafa, what is your height, or how tall are you? I am 5'10.5". I don't know what that is in centimeters. I'm not going to jump up and measure myself. So Mumin Mirza, question 1. I can speak in British accent, Indian accent, but I can't speak in an American accent. How can I do that? It's what you are exposing yourself to and what you are mimicking. So if you are watching American YouTubers, you will learn an American accent if you focus on reproducing it. So again, listen to Brent. He's an American speaker. Listen to a minute of Brent record yourself trying to speak like Brent and then listen to both. Number 2, what is the difference between the US dollar and Canadian dollar? I think our dollar is really low right now. I think the Canadian dollar is only worth 70 cents in dollar American to USD, 69 cents. So 1 Canadian dollar gets you 69 cents. Brent, maybe you should come to Canada next summer instead of me going to the US. It's going to be a little pricey. Another person who can understand English, but when they speak it, it's difficult. Again, make sure you are practicing your English in a non-stressful, non-daily life situation. That means find a speaking partner, try to speak with them 30 minutes a week. From Ali, hi Bob, if I want to test my English level, which online test site is best? I recommend that you do an official test with people. It's more stressful, but it's more accurate. If you can do a TOEFL, a TOEFL test, if you can do an IELTS, do that. You have to pay money, I know, but it is more authentic. An online test usually tests your reading and writing. It might test your listening, but it rarely will do a good job of testing your speaking. Freddie Wolf with a super chat. Thanks, Bob. It's a huge pleasure. Thanks, Bob. It's a huge pleasure to send you this little gift. And then I can reply by saying thanks. Very cool. So online sites are probably okay. I think Duolingo has one, but if you want a real measure, from Sakurai, I am an English learner. I need a person to make or to speak English with. It really comes down to this. If you're serious about learning English, there are ways to find someone to speak with you for free. If they want to learn your language, you can do a language exchange. You might be able to find an English speaking club, but you might have to hire someone. There's a website below called Preply. It's one place where you can find someone. You will need to pay them, but you can find someone to speak English with you. Sergio, hi Bob, what time is it where you live? It is 11:01 a.m. and I'm going to go for about 5 more minutes and then wrap this up. Okay. The Avril Lavigne fan. Hey, why when we say interesting in an English conversation, it doesn't mean it's a good thing? Is it used to indicate irony? No, it's used to indicate that you heard what the person said. Like, my brother bought a new car. Interesting. It's going to rain tomorrow. Interesting. It's kind of a placeholder. Like, it doesn't really mean you're interested necessarily. It can mean that, but yeah, it's kind of a filler word. From Sally, I'm from Algeria. How can I improve my listening and speaking skills? Again, there's nothing quite like having a person to talk to each week to improve your speaking skills. Listening skills, you can watch YouTube, you can listen to podcasts, you can watch English television, you can listen to music. There are many, many ways to improve your listening, but I still haven't found a good way to improve your speaking. Even AI is helpful to improve speaking, but I think there's something about the stress and anxiety and excitement of talking to a real person that helps you remember things a lot better. Mode says, merci beaucoup. Oh, you can reply to super chats. Very cool. Okay. Couple more questions. Luis, I've seen this word outlet, meaning news sources. I'd like to know what its full meaning and when to use it correctly. There's 2 meanings I can think of. Actually 3. There's an electrical outlet and my computer is plugged into it. Outlet means a place where something comes out of. So an electrical outlet, electricity comes out of it. It's not exactly how electricity works, but bear with me. There are also things called outlet stores where it's like a large store and all they sell is Adidas or Nike or Adidas. Sorry if I say it wrong in North America. And then you have news outlets. So here in Canada, we have the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and that is one news outlet. So news comes from it. So outlet means where something comes from. From Fareed, how can I teach someone English language from the beginner level? You should start with picture books made for children or even picture books made for kids. I was going to say adults. Picture books made for children or picture books made for adults. There is a very good series of picture books by D.K. picture books. I think it's DK. Yes. So I would buy or go to the library and get a DK picture book. That's a great way to start. Words with pictures. They're amazing. Zamois, what is the most effective way to speak more fluently? Some people say it's reading, and some say imitating or listening to native speakers. So imitating native speakers would be my choice of those three, and actually having conversations. Like if you want to get better at speaking, find someone to speak English with. Freddie Wolf says, Bob, what will be the menu for lunch today? An egg on toast. That will be the menu today. From Mikhailo. Hello, Teacher Bob. Can you answer my yesterday question about relationships? It was about the worst kind of relationships, in your opinion. The worst kind of relationships are where they're not equal, where one person gives and the other person takes. So one person does everything and the other person does nothing. One person has money, the other person has none. One person, it's a relationship should be a two-way street. There should be a lot of give and take. There should be a lot of balance. That's to me the worst kind. From Annette, bonjour Bob. Could you give me a hint how to boost soft skills in English lessons more effectively? Gros merci d'être avec nous. Big thank you for being with us. Just being kind and helpful. Probably the best skill you can learn is to figure out what someone needs so you can help them. So kind conversation. Do you need help with that? Are you having trouble with that? What can I help you with? Those are great questions to ask in that situation. From Mohammed, Bob, please share tips to improve our heavy accent and make it a Canadian accent. You can take classes that specifically help you reduce your accent. I would look for a class like that. You might be able to take one in your city or online. From Ain, hi Bob, I have a question. Is American English different from Canadian English much? Not much. Just a few words are pronounced differently. The grammar is pretty much identical. I've never thought about that before. It's really just pronunciation, I think. Dimitro, hi Bob, I remember you saying a few times that a certain word or phrase is rarely used in modern English. What's the best way to find this out online? Thank you. You might be able to use Google Trends, but that won't give you a great idea. For me, it's just like, I haven't heard that word for a very long time. Okay, I'm in the final sprint here. Muaz, who are you voting for in the next election? That's going to remain a mystery. Bob the Canadian does not answer questions about politics. Alicia, what were your biggest difficulties in learning? My biggest difficulties with English is phonetics and spelling. There are no rules at all. For me, learning French, my biggest difficulty is knowing what word is masculine and what word is feminine. For most people learning English, it's how to use phrasal verbs. That's a big one. From Natalia, fashion question today. Do you think gloves, hat, and scarf should be the same color and fabric? Yeah, I think I do, but mine aren't. This is my bluish hat, kind of bluish gray, and then my gray gloves. But if I was fashionable, they would be. From Luis, hello Bob, I'm from Paraguay, living in Winnipeg since January 1st. It's so cold in Winnipeg. I'm really enjoying the winter here. The temperature is minus 26 degrees right now. Very nice, LOL. Yeah, Winnipeg is one of our coldest cities. Nikita, hi Bob, what do you call your a winter hat? I call this a toque, but we also call it a winter hat. I also think it always makes my face look big. When I put it on, I feel like it makes my face look big. Sometimes when I come back from my walk, I look very European as I wear it like this. But some people wear one and call it a beanie, but I think I'm too old to call it a beanie. Mohammed, what is your favorite sport, favorite football club, and favorite player? I currently like baseball. My favorite player, let me see. I'm trying to think. I guess if I can't think of one, I don't really have one. But the Toronto Blue Jays baseball. From Rose. I'm trying to finish the questions and more keep coming in. I have a problem with IELTS reading. It is also at band 5 and I would like to improve to band 7, but it is so hard. I read a lot, but I think it's not working. Make sure you're reading at the right level. So try, I know you are far beyond this, but find a children's book where you understand everything, and then find a book written for young adults where you understand everything. Like try to go down to the level where you understand everything and then start to read harder and harder things. Brent says we need to go to a baseball game. Oh, yeah, that would be fun. Okay, yeah, cue that up. This should be a fun trip. From Abdi, thank you for teaching in English. Give me the best way I can communicate using English. Sometimes I can't communicate perfectly. Communicate so the person understands you, and do that over and over again, and your English will slowly become better. So your goal isn't to speak perfectly. Your goal is to be understood and to practice a lot. I know that's hard, but that's just the way it is. From Paolo, do you have any religion? Bob the Canadian doesn't talk about politics or religion or sex on his channel. It just causes controversy. From Yuri, I heard a statement that in English you can address someone as sir if you don't know his name or if he's a ranking police or military. What's your thoughts? If I get pulled over by a cop, I call him sir if it's a male police officer. I wouldn't call a female officer ma'am. We use sir a lot, but we don't use ma'am a lot. But I would say yes, sir. Yep. Yes, sir. Can I see your driver's license? Yes, sir. It's just a sign of respect. From English fan, hello, Bob. I just started learning English. What do you recommend me to improve my pronunciation? Sometimes it is overwhelming. Also, I don't have someone to practice. So, excuse me, simply reading out loud is great. But another technique is to listen to an English speaker, hit pause after 10 or 20 seconds, and say what they said out loud. If you want to add another level, record yourself saying the same thing as an English speaker and compare the two. But you have to hear what you're saying wrong to help you improve it. So, hi, sir. How are you today? I'm watching from Bangladesh. What's the difference between make sure and ensure? I'm going to make sure that I'm ready for work on Monday. I'm going to ensure that I'm ready for work. They're very similar. There is a slight difference, but you can use both of them. We usually say make sure. Ensure is not super common. From Gonzalo, I'm 20 years old. I'm learning English and I need someone to practice my speaking every day. I hope you can find someone. It is so awesome to have a speaking partner. From Victor, hi, Bob. How to pronounce literally? I can pronounce it the British way, but I can't pronounce it the American Canadian way. It twists my tongue. So I said it very quickly. Literally. Literally. So again, the T sounds like a D. Literally. Literally. That's a hard word to say. How to hear the India accent. So in Canada, we have a lot of people who have come from India. When they speak English, they have an accent and I can understand them, no problem. Probably because I've had a lot of experience. So that's one thing. Let's see here. Do you see a lot of bullying in Canadian schools? There is bullying in Canada. Our country is not perfect. It does happen. We try to prevent it. From Nightbreak, hi, Mr. Bob. I hope you're doing great. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between these words, in so much as, in as much as, so much as, and much as? I'm going to pass on this one. I would have to do a complete lesson. I will say this, in so much and in as much are very formal sounding. You wouldn't hear them in a conversation unless the person was very highly educated or something like that. From Bao, some of my students have bad pronunciation because they got their incorrect ways back from primary school or middle school. Any advice? Just help them understand what they sound like. You may have to do the technique of having them record themselves and listen to it. But sometimes people think they're saying something right when they're not. From Ilyas, hi, Bob. My question is that how I can improve my fluency without speaking. You can't. You have to speak to improve your fluency. And how can I learn more vocabulary? Reading for me is a great way to learn vocabulary. Yeah simply means yes. I'm down to 2. Jack says, big fan here. My question is, what are the phrasal verbs you use most often in your daily life? Anything with get in it. I need to get up. I need to get out. I need to get on it. Yeah, look up all the ones with get. Last one. Amar, I'm from Pakistan, student of 11th grade. How I can achieve excellence in English? Keep working at it. Study it. Do your reading, writing, listening, speaking. Learn vocabulary. Figure out how to do your grammar well, etc., etc. Whew. Okay, I did all the questions. If you just submitted a question, I'm not going to answer it. Sorry about that. I feel like my voice is getting a little raspy even, so it's time to pack it in. Thank you so much for watching. If you're one of the 376 people watching and you're not a subscriber, please click the subscribe button and the bell. You will get notified when I do a new lesson. Hafia says, cascading questions, quick fire. Yeah, I was just going lightning speed there. If you ever want to hear me speak at normal speed, that was my normal speed. I know that was really quick. I wonder if it even was able to make subtitles for that. Bob, need to get this lesson done. Yep. Who is the poor? What does it mean? If someone has a lot of things, or, oh, if you're poor, you have nothing. You have very little thing, very few things. Bye. Yeah, let's just say bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to those of you who are members. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everyone who came and watched this. Remember, the lesson from yesterday will come out tomorrow in a shorter version. You should watch it to help you remember the things that I taught. If there are any things in this lesson where you didn't quite understand me, do rewatch that segment at some point. And I'm just going to say bye, and I'm going to go. So bye to Unsel, Lolly Lolly, Natalia. Natalia's been around a while too. Lolly Lolly, probably the longest. Michael, Unsel, J Boss, Svetlana, Freddie Wolf, Judith, Know That, Cat Diary, Andrew. Bye to all of you. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'm going to go. Bye. I'm going to go. I just like to make sure. I should make an outro someday, shouldn't I? That I just click.